Hey there everybody, Eric from OUTER LIMITLESS coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video we're going to take a look at the most recent knife I was able to get my hands on from Dark Timber Knives. Now if you're not familiar with Dark Timber Knives, Peter Kohler is a designer and fabricator. He has his own knife company and has not only handmade knives but also a mid-tech line of knives. So here I have one of his mid-tech knives from his latest drop. Generally in his knife drops, he'll produce somewhere or ballpark around the 50 knife mark for each one of his models. That's what we have here today. We're going to open this up and take a look at the 1911 Commander. Now you need to be very lucky. You have to get on these drops extremely fast. In the past, I was able to get my hands on both the 1911 Elite as well as the OG Grizzly. And today, I'm excited to have the opportunity to take a look at this 1911 Commander. So as I get into this here, carefully opening this package, here you will see the Dark Timber Knives 1911 Commander. Now I bought this at Knives Ship Free. There are usually a few locations where you can get them. DLT Trading, Knives Ship Free, Blade HQ, it just kind of depends. So in this particular case, Knives Ship Free. And as you look on the end of the box here, in both the front and the back, kind of gives you some of the details. So this is the 1911 Commander in green maple burl, black micarta guard. This has natural black and natural spacers, and the blade steel is Nitro V with a PVD coated. And then it says TLAIN, so PVD coated Tlain. What's Tlain? I'm not sure what Tlain is. So this is considered to have a PVD Tlain finish. I've never really heard of that, but that's what they're calling it. So anyway, we are going to take a look at this for the first time here, get an overall look at the features, the fit and the finish, and the overall quality of not only the knife, but the sheath as well. This Dark Timber 1911 Commander. Now, I've looked at a few of these knives. They are typically packaged up in a very similar fashion. Now, when you open up these packages, you do have some paper to keep things sort of separate and isolated, nicely protected, so that it does not have any rub marks from the box or the packaging. So, very simple. And then here, the knife. So again, just wrapping the handle to make sure no potential damage while in transport. Getting a quick look at this sheath. Here we have a JRE sheath. Now, Dark Timber Knives did go to the JRE sheaths, very similar to what you will see with, call it a BHK, a Battle Horse knife, or also potentially your LT Wrights, something like that. JRE makes sheaths for many knife companies, and that's also the case now with the Dark Timber Mid-Techs. Now you'll notice on this sheath, this is nicely welted. It has a belt loop on the back for the carry option, a couple of rivets, kind of to hold it together. Overall, nicely stitched. Now it's an interesting shape, but most of all because of the actual shape of the knife. So you do need to be careful while removing this. Now, if you've seen any other reviews on this knife, you'll notice that some people have had trouble and actually punched the knife straight through the sheath. I'm going to avoid that at all costs. But here, taking a look, you'll see as we uncover the handle, that beautiful green burlwood, the natural spacers, the black bolster. This is ridiculously sweet. Now, this knife is a hidden tang design, so it is basically inside the handle. I believe a full tang, yet hidden tang. So nice and stout, but it gives you a good, comfortable grip. And then you'll see here just this cellophane to keep the knife protected. There is some oil on this blade, so I'm just going to slide this off carefully, not to cut myself, and there you go. So Nitro V with the PVD coating. Here you have the 1911 Commander. Now, first impressions is very important. This thing indexes absolutely perfectly in my hands. This is an extremely comfortable knife. Your thumb fits exactly where you need it to. That's one of the things in a good knife design, in my opinion, just the fact that when you grab it very naturally and just comfortably in the hand, it indexes exactly where you need it. And that's exactly what happens with this 1911 Commander. So as I grab the knife, just positioning here a little bit differently, You'll see my grip is very natural. As I just close my hand naturally, my thumb falls directly into place, my fingers falling nicely on the handle. You got these little scallops for a slightly alternate grip. Now, even though this knife is a little bit smaller, it still fits my hands very nicely. It's good and comfortable, and I could see this being a great EDC knife. In fact, that is the inspiration from Peter Kohler for designing this knife the way he did. With the 1911 Elite, that knife is a little bit bigger. This is not necessarily exactly the same as the 1911 Elite in terms of the shape and the function. It's a scaled down version, has similar sort of characteristics, but at the same time is more suited to that EDC purpose. So a good quality overall utility blade, general everyday use. This definitely could be a nice belt carry for somebody who can carry a fixed blade for an EDC application. So if you do a little bit of research or you watch any other review videos about this particular PVD coating, this is one of the hardest coatings out there at this time. This coating has been tested on scratch tests with different materials to see how it will perform, and in that regard it has performed extremely well. It's a good quality, durable coating. It helps to protect the blade. Now Nitro V is very stainless in the first place, but with that coating this is pretty much a hassle-free knife. So good in a number of different environments, especially in wet environments. Now taking a look at all the grind lines, there is a nice little grind secondary bevel on the bottom of this blade, nice and shiny. You have the PVD coating, then with that secondary bevel. Now this is a very high saber grind. It's not exactly a full flat grind, kind of a saber grind going into an unsharpened swedge on the top. You end up with just a nice choil area here, so like a sharpening choil, but very deep, gives that a good pronounced look. Just nice aggressive handle there, where you end up with a well sculpted finger guard, but it's just aggressive looking, has a bit of an aggressive look and feel, which is very nice. It's not sharp, it's very smooth and rounded out, has a beautiful contour, but just has that aggressive look. Now the scales on this knife are absolutely gorgeous, amazing. I mean, not really camouflage per se, but has a little bit of that look. So you end up with this really nice subdued handle, beautiful detail overall, little highlights, deep shadows, beautiful grain, just an amazing piece of wood in and of itself, never mind the fact that it's been sculpted into a piece of functional artwork. Also, the black micarta guard, just getting into a little further detail here, just nicely mates up with the top of the knife spine, has beautiful scallops, good and comfortable for alternate grips. I very much like a knife for a utility purpose that I can grab on top of the blade. That's good for food prep and slicing tasks. That's good for detailed work. So to have the scallops in the handle and right on that guard is definitely sweet. Now you end up with your Dark Timber logo on one side, Nitro V on the other. Nicely laser etched, beautifully done, nice and even. Now this has a factory coat of oil all over it. Now just some subtle details on the butt end of the knife here. You will see this little plug. That to me is basically where this knife would have been installed. You would probably have the tang of the knife going through to the end, epoxied in place, I'm imagining, and then a little plug in the end just to give it that smooth, rounded out finish. Nice quality finished end, no rough spots, nothing exposed, sanded absolutely flawlessly. And if you look really close, it appears to be in the same black micarta as they used on this finger guard. A nicely contoured handle where your fingers index on the knife. So here you'll see your fulcrum point between your pointer and your thumb, and then where the rest of your fingers just land right into place, just comfortable and a nice overall grip. Now a very subtle palm swell, very, very subtle through the meat of the handle, and then necking down just a little bit thinner. And then when you get up to that finger guard, it flares out just a touch again. So a lot of shapy sort of finesse and curves just go into this. When you look down the profile, just very smooth and shapy. It's an interesting look where you end up with a lot of detailed and just delicate curves, but when you get it in your hands, it's very organic and a natural feeling blade in your grip. So alright guys, there you have it. A quick look and first impression show and tell of the Dark Timber Knives Mid-Tech 1911 Commander. Obviously a beautiful knife, very well made, like all the other Dark Timber products. If you haven't had a chance to get your hands on one of these, you need to be lucky. You need to work fast. You have to be extremely quick on the drops. Now, in this particular drop, and I think there's been maybe 4 of them. I know of at least 3 because I was able to get knives through those 3 drops. There may have been a 4th. I'm not sure if I'm misspeaking. However, those first 2 drops closed in like 2 minutes, like less than 2 minutes, and 100% of the knives sold out. This one, the drop lasted a little bit longer, maybe closer to 6 minutes. Now, I don't know if that's because there were more places to buy knives, if it wasn't advertised the same way, if there were more to buy in the first place. But again, the fact of the matter is every single Dark Timber knife that was available that day sold out in about 6 minutes. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.